Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In China, it is often said, a talented scholar deserves a graceful lady. And a hero deserves a beautiful woman. Such pairings have been common since ancient times. However, throughout history, some heroes have become the subject of ridicule for thousands of years due to their excessive lust. Among them, the most talked about is none other than Cao Cao. His peculiar hobby, an attraction to other men's wives, has left people both intrigued and exasperated. As a result, Cao Cao's fondness for other men's wives has almost become a historical cliché. But this raises a question: why was Cao Cao particularly drawn to married women or widows? Was it simply because of their beauty? Or was there a deeper, more strategic consideration behind it? Let us now pull back the curtain of history and uncover the truth behind this warlord's unique, aesthetic preference. The story of Lady Zhou. First, according to the records of the Three Kingdoms. After capturing Rang City, Cao Cao forcibly took Lady Zhou, the aunt of Guangxu. Lady Zhou was said to possess unparalleled beauty, and Cao Cao fell in love with her at first sight, taking her as his concubine. However, this act enraged Guangxu, who took advantage of Cao Cao's distraction with his new romantic pursuit and launched a surprise night attack. The assault devastated Cao Cao's forces, resulting in the deaths of his son Cao Ang, his nephew Cao Anmin, and his general Dian Wei. When Cao Cao learned of Dian Wei's death, he wept bitterly and even sent spies to recover his body, showing deep grief. Following this incident, Cao Cao's first wife, Lady Ding, blamed him for their son Cao Ang's death. Their relationship soured, ultimately leading to their separation. In his later years, Cao Cao frequently expressed regret over this tragedy. The price of indulgence. This incident reminds us of the saying, drowning in indulgence and luxury. Cao Cao's infatuation with beauty blinded him, leading to a lapse in vigilance that Guangxu exploited. As a brilliant military commander, Cao Cao should have remained alert and cautious at all times. Yet, he allowed his personal desires to cloud his judgment, causing him to suffer a humiliating defeat and a heavy personal loss. This undoubtedly damaged his reputation and came at a great cost. The dilemma of desire and leadership. On the other hand, it's worth noting that during the chaotic era of warlord conflicts, Cao Cao was still a normal man with desires and preferences. His attraction to beauty and women was not unusual. The key, however, lay in managing those desires wisely, satisfying himself without compromising the greater cause. Striking such a balance is a significant test of wisdom for any leader. The story of Lady Zhen. After capturing Yi City, Cao Cao's eyes fell on Lady Zhen, the wife of Yuan Shi, the second son of his rival Yuan Shao. However, Lady Zhen ultimately became a concubine to Cao Cao's son, Cao Pai. This decision left Cao Cao dissatisfied, but as a father, he refrained from intervening further. The case of Lady Zhen highlights Cao Cao's pragmatism in matters involving women and politics. Lady Zhen's exceptional beauty made her an ideal match in Cao Cao's eyes. But he eventually relinquished his claim on her and allowed her to marry his son. This demonstrates Cao Cao's ability to weigh gains and losses, prioritizing political benefits and familial harmony over personal desires. His decision showcases his wisdom in navigating the delicate balance between beauty, politics, and family. Lessons from history. From these two incidents, we can see that Cao Cao's actions of taking enemy wives were driven not only by personal desire but also had political implications. However, these actions also provoked his enemies, leading to retaliatory strikes against his army. Thus, Cao Cao's behavior was not without risk. He had to carefully balance his personal cravings and political interests. The legacy of Lady Zhen. According to historical records, Lady Zhen, later known as Empress Zhen, was famed for her extraordinary beauty. After Cao Cao captured Yi City, she was taken by Cao Pai, who cherished her deeply. She gave birth to a son, Cao Rui, and a daughter, Princess Dongxiang. In the 7th year of the Guangxu era, 226 AD, after Cao Rui ascended the throne, he posthumously honored her as Empress Wenzhao. In the 4th year of the Taihe era, 230 AD, Emperor Cao Rui reburied her in Chaoyang Mausoleum. These stories of Cao Cao's relationships reveal the intricate interplay of personal desires, political strategy, and leadership challenges in a turbulent era. They also provide a glimpse into the complexity of one of history's most enigmatic figures. Secondly, according to historical records, Cao Cao had 16 wives and concubines throughout his life, 13 of whom were widows from enemy forces or his subordinates. This fact highlights Cao Cao's strong preference for beautiful women. Cao Cao's fascination with beauty stemmed partly from the physiological needs typical of men, and partly from his hedonistic personality. In an era rife with wars and uncertainties, he understood the brevity of life and chose to indulge in pleasures, seeking immediate gratification. However, it is noteworthy that Cao Cao did not always forcibly claim women he admired. His actions were often based on maximizing benefits. This indicates that, while he coveted beauty, he never entirely lost his rationality, and maintained a clear mind. Even as he pursued pleasure, he always balanced it with considerations of power and profit. According to historians, Cao Cao's possessiveness toward these women undoubtedly showcased his domineering and autocratic nature. He treated them as personal property, reflecting his overarching sense of power. Yet, even so, Cao Cao was not reckless. For instance, Zhen Mi, renowned for her unparalleled beauty, was highly favored by Cao Cao. Yet, she eventually became a concubine of Cao Pai. Despite his reluctance, Cao Cao compromised, clearly driven by political realities. In summary, Cao Cao's pursuit of beauty revealed both his imperious and indulgent side, as well as his capacity for pragmatism in the face of reality. His every move was imbued with deep calculations of power and benefit. Thirdly, marrying widows helped Cao Cao consolidate enemy forces. Cao Cao's fondness for claiming the wives and concubines of enemy forces was not solely driven by personal desires. Behind it lay his profound political strategies. The wives and concubines of enemy commanders often came from noble families, and maintained complex networks with other warlords. By accepting these women, Cao Cao leveraged marriage as a means to bind the powers behind them to his own faction. These alliances effectively became new political capital for Cao Cao, making this one of the reasons for his preference for widows. For instance, Zhen Mi's father, Zhen Yi, was an important subordinate of Yuan Shao. After Cao Pai married Zhen Mi, the influence of the Zhen family undoubtedly helped the Cao Wei faction win over Yuan Shao's former forces. Another example, if Cao Cao had succeeded in marrying Sun Quan's younger sister, it would have significantly weakened the resistance of Eastern Wu. This strategy of using marriage to entangle enemy forces was a brilliant tactic that greatly expanded Cao Cao's political resources. In his eyes, these women were more tools for expanding power than emotional companions. However, it is essential to note that successfully claiming the wives and concubines of enemies was not common. Often, enemy commanders would rather sacrifice their lives than allow their families to be taken. In that era, protecting one's wife and children was not only a matter of personal honor, but also crucial to the survival of one's lineage. Thus, for Cao Cao, using this method to expand his influence was not without challenges. Fourthly, caring for the families of meritorious subordinates stabilized morale. In addition to enemy wives and concubines, Some of the widows in Cao Cao's harem were the spouses of his own veteran generals. For instance, the widow of Dian Wei was taken into Cao Cao's harem. On the surface, this served to care for the families of meritorious subordinates, reflecting his image as a leader who rewarded loyalty and valued talent. At the same time, such acts helped stabilize morale and boost the troops' spirits. After all, for his soldiers, who wouldn't want their families to be properly cared for if they were to sacrifice their lives? However, Cao Cao's actions were not entirely driven by humanitarianism or gratitude. He valued how such measures could ensure greater loyalty from his troops, thereby solidifying his leadership. For a warlord relying on elite generals to expand his influence, maintaining morale was critical. If he failed to properly care for the families of fallen generals, it could provoke dissatisfaction among his soldiers and even undermine cohesion in his army. Thus, taking in widows was not only a way to appease people, but also a vital strategy for maintaining military power. In conclusion, Cao Cao's preference for widows was not merely driven by personal desires but also represented a masterful use of political resources. Cao Cao's wisdom is difficult to grasp. We cannot judge him simply by modern values. Instead, we must understand the deeper meaning behind his actions in the context of his time. This approach not only respects historical figures, but also allows us to draw valuable lessons and insights. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.